What's up, everybody? I had clinical today and I came in about 2 hours ago. I got home close to 8 o'clock. And I think right now it's close to 10 o'clock. So I'm busted, I'm broke down, I'm tired, but that's just the way life is right now. But I've been meaning to do this. I want to come on and just address some of the comments and some of the issues, questions, things like that people leave underneath my videos. Some of y'all be wilding. I already told y'all that. Some of y'all be wild out Wednesdays. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it. I recently received a question asking about whether or not a nurse would lose their license here in the US if they made a medication error. Now, I know that I did a video on Redonda Voigt. Let me say her name properly. Is it Vaught? Because someone tried to check me in the comments. Redonda Vaught was the nurse that worked at Vanderbilt in Tennessee. She lost her nursing license. She was actually charged with manslaughter, found guilty, and she did get her nursing license revoked because the error that she made with the patient was very negligent and it resulted in the patient losing their life. So the issue with nurses losing their license for medication error, it has to be a very gross, negligent error. You really have to go off. You really have to veer away. You really have to deviate from standard protocol. You have to not adhere to any patient's, the 6 or the 7 rights of medication administration. You have to do something that is so egregious in order for your license to be revoked. Other than that, a lot of hospitals have adopted, it's like a framework and it's referred to as just culture, meaning that when a nurse makes an error, she's encouraged to report it because sometimes it's not because of the human error. It could be because of a systems issue. So hospitals encourage nurses to report so that way they can look to see where the flaw came in. So usually if that happens, nurses aren't going to be sent to the board, referred to the board, and they're not going to have their license taken. It has to be something really gross, something negligent. For example, you draw up 10 units of regular insulin and you push it IV. You didn't scan it. It just has to be you have to miss so many different steps. That's just from what I know. Another question that someone asked me recently was, I'm currently in NP school and they wanted to know what I plan to do with my nurse practitioner license. I'll be very honest with you. I have no clue. I do know that I do not want to practice medicine. It's never been my goal. I am pursuing this degree simply because I live in the state of Maryland, and in the state of Maryland, when you are a nurse practitioner, you have full practice authority and you can practice independently. More than likely, I'll probably go into the beauty and wellness industry. My reason for going this route is simply because if I own my own med spa or when I own my own med spa, I don't want to have to pay a physician a certain percentage of money to be my medical director, because a physician might require 15, sometimes even 20% of what you're making to be your medical director, so they can sign off on paperwork and they can say that, yes, they're in fact governing and watching the practice. I don't want to have to pay nobody, because what if I'm not making no money yet? I still got to come out my pocket and pay you and I don't have it. So that's one of the reasons why I went back to get my nurse practitioner license, or I'm in school right now to obtain that license. Now, I'm a firm believer that education is not something you can have too much of, but I also believe that it has to make sense. I'm not just going to go back to school just to get a degree if it's not going to be profitable. I hear a lot of people talking about going back to school to get a DNP, which is a doctor of nursing practice. I have no interest in it. If it's not going to bring me any more money into my pockets, what am I doing with a degree? What am I doing with the stress and the extra cost that it's going to take to obtain that degree just so I can say I have a doctorate in nursing? I'm not interested. I was at some point in my nursing career interested in obtaining a PhD simply because my goal is not to live in this country. So with a PhD degree, I can live just about anywhere in the world that has universities, and more than likely I can probably teach as a visiting professor, adjunct, or even a full-time professor. But that was years ago I had that thought. I don't know about now. Another thing that has come up in the comments, which consistently comes up, is that video that I did on nursing being a toxic environment. And a lot of people had so many different opinions. That video actually is at 1 million views, or maybe slightly over 1 million views. To be quite honest, when I made that video, I was not expecting to garner the response that I did. That video, I go to work and I know almost everybody in the hospital, maybe down to the president of the hospital, is aware of that video. But because there was no HIPAA violation and I did not mention the facility that I worked at, nor did I film in the facility, I mean, what can you really do? I have a right to share my lived experience, and that is exactly what I did. But that video had a lot of positive, but it also had a lot of negative responses, simply because the biggest issue people had was the fact that I brought race into it. And I'm just like, are you guys serious? Like, we live in America. Race is one of the major issues here in America. And just because some people think that, oh, well, if we don't talk about it, that means it doesn't exist or it will just go away. No, thank you. Race is an issue that we always have to consider and we must always address. As a Black person living in America, I don't have the luxury of not considering my race. We don't have that luxury because the system was designed considering our race. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Let's see, what else have people been inquiring about? I think I had questions on whether or not it's worth it to pursue a BSN degree versus an associate's degree. And to be quite honest, the way that I feel about it now, the BSN degree was kind of shoved down my throat initially when I was looking at different nursing schools. Today, though, if you are thinking about switching into nursing as a career change, or you're looking to enter into nursing, you're thinking about going to nursing school, I highly recommend seeking out an associate's degree at a community college. Sorry if my speech seems slurred, y'all, because I am tired. But I recommend a community college for multiple reasons. Community colleges are accessible, they're cheaper, they have funding. You can do your program. It will take you approximately 3 to 4 years. And that's the one thing a lot of people don't realize about nursing. And when they find out, they get discouraged, is that before you can actually get into a nursing program, you have to take a slew of prerequisites. And when you get to like your science prerequisites, it's like you can't take multiple sciences at a time. You need to focus on them 1, max 2 at a time. I never did 2 sciences at a time. I always did 1 science at a time because I wanted to ensure that my grade would be a B and higher. If I were to do multiple sciences, I'm telling you right now, my grades would suck. So because of that, nursing school can take a long time, even at a community college. And I try to tell people, do not get deterred by the time. Time is going to pass anyway, right? You're not in a race. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, okay? And you're going to meet that goal. Just be patient, be consistent, and be perseverance. Wait, did I say be perseverance? I don't know. I don't know if that word fit in properly. I'm sorry. I told you guys my brain, because I know somebody's in the comments going to be like, oh, you said that you have a master's in nursing and you don't use proper grammar. All right, whatever. But anyway, the BSN can always come after. Like, there's no rush to get a BSN degree. Not unless you have like short-term goals to meet, bam, bam, bam. For example, if you know that you're planning on going to nursing school, you want to get your BSN, because as soon as you get your BSN, you're going to work in the ICU. And after 1 year of working in the ICU, you're going to get CCRN certified, apply to anesthesia school, and go right back to anesthesia school. So it all depends. But if you're not sure what your 1 year goal is, your 5 year goal is, I would say get the associate's degree. And then when you start working as a nurse at a facility, at a hospital, at a large organization, a lot of them offer tuition reimbursement. And then you can use that tuition reimbursement to go back to school to pay for your BSN. That way you're saving money. Also, too, some community colleges also offer like bridge programs that while you're doing your associate's degree, you'll finish the associate's program, you'll get your nursing license, and then you continue on in a 4-year university to get the BSN. There's really not a rush. A new nurse is a new nurse is a new nurse. When I started working as a nurse back in 2010, the salary I started with was, I think, $25.10. And the 10 cents came in because I had a BSN, I think. people from the community colleges were making $25 an hour. And I mean, what's 10 cents? It really didn't make that much of a difference, right? Nursing is not really about the degree that you initially obtain. Nursing is about having your RN license and having experience. That is the most important thing. The BSN can always come after. Some of you might or might not disagree with me, but we can always disagree respectfully. Remember that, respectfully in the comments. Now, let's see, what else? What other questions did I get? I really should have written them down or like had screenshots. I'm filming this right now on my phone, so I'm trying to think, I'm trying to see. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be better prepared next time. This was very impromptu. So I'm going to end this little, housekeeping session right here. And I'll catch up with you guys in another video.